I just move shit with my freaking mind!
Welcome, lady and gentlemen. Today's topic, the state of gaming. And well, it's in a state of decay. You have big studios with massively bloated budgets and no creativity churning out games to appease investors. Game Awards shows sucking on their own farts, completely ignoring the current culture in not just gaming, but the entire world in general. And developers working on first-person shooters who don't like guns. No wonder people are looking to the East for better games, because they're just making games, not statements on the current economic and political state of the world.
God, can we talk about the political and economic state of the world right now?
All the while, Nintendo's in the corner waiting to snipe anyone who speaks ill on Mario. Too many studios are allocating way too much money to games these days. Concord and various others are evidence that throwing money at something doesn't automatically make it better. Game studios have run into the "we'll fix it in post" problem that has plagued Hollywood for years, resulting in horrible VFX. District 9 was released in 2009 with a budget of, adjusted for inflation, $45 million, when similar movies of the time were made with budgets exceeding $150 million. There's a quote by physicist Ernest Rutherford that reads, "We haven't got the money, so we'll have to think." Sorry about the tangent. I know this video is about video games and not movies. But video game studios sure do love following in the footsteps of Hollywood. Spectacle over substance, graphics over mechanics. Rockstar, one of the few big studios left who don't squander their massive budget, are rumored to release the base GTA 6 for $100. This might set a bad precedent, where someone like Ubisoft, notorious for big budget games, might start charging more for their games as well, with the same lame excuse, "Hey, we need to make our money back somehow." Ubisoft might be a bad example. Who knows if they'll still be in business in the near future. However, nobody told any of you to keep spending this much money on games. You can't punish the consumer for your poor financial decisions. So many studios are starting to use UE5, giving so many games that Unreal look. You know what I'm talking about, I just grabbed a bunch of free assets from the Unreal store and stuck it in my game look. Unreal Engine 5 is a very good tool, but because it simplifies the workflow so much, we keep getting these homogeneous, looking games.
Homogeneous.
It's still not Unreal's fault though, it's the lazy ass studios who don't put any effort in. The tools UE5 give you are kind of like a double-edged sword. On one hand, it gives large studios the ability to speed up their workflow so they can actually focus on the things that actually matter for a good game, if they actually choose to focus on what actually makes a good game. And it gives smaller studios the tools to develop games that were only possible through larger studios not even a decade ago. Or does it? However, on the other hand, these tools can lull developers into thinking that optimization is just a single click away. LODs? No, just use Nanite. Drop that 50 million quad bicycle tire into the scene. It'll be fine because of Nanite. This is how you end up with an indie game with middling graphics that runs at 30 plus FPS 1080p medium on an RTX 3060. The 3060 is still a very common card. Not much to be said here. These kinds of tools, when used correctly, can be amazing, if your game is actually optimized to run well on whatever the current most popular graphics card is on the Steam hardware survey. Instead, it's now clear that developers are relying on AI upscaling and AI frame gen instead of optimization. In my opinion, I know this is very controversial, but AI upscaling and frame generation should only be the cherry on top of a game that already runs well without it. When we buy a digital game, we don't own it, we just have a license to it, as many were reminded by Ubisoft in October of 2022 when they revoked access to the DLCs of Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation. And then in December of 2023, a different company named Ubisoft began revoking the licenses of players who bought the game The Crew. And then in mid-2024, a completely different company named Ubisoft made concept art using the flag of Sekigahara Teppotai, a Japanese reenactment group, without a license. They've made at least 2 pirate games that I'm aware of. I think they're trying to tell us something. So is modern gaming in a bad place right now? It's not exactly in a good place. And it won't be like the early 2000s again where developers just made games because they just enjoyed making games. Of course there are still good games coming out amongst all the trash. And what's stopping you from playing older games? It's not like they're going anywhere. It's not all bad though. At least we have Assassin's Creed Shadows to look forward to.
Greed cannot rule this village. Not while I have breath in my lungs and a blade in my hand. I said kill him!
Hey, I'm Dina. Look at my feet. My feet are straight ahead. You don't want to do that. You want to turn your feet out. I'm going to do this backwards. And that's what makes it look like hip hop. What this is with hip hop is everything's down low. It all is in a plie. I think the first thing that you need to know about hip hop, it's all about your posture. And you know, growing up, my posture was really bad. My mom used to tell me all the time, stand up straight, stand up straight. Well, you know what? I was standing up straight.